This is PhotoBizX, episode number 412, and today we are talking AI, artificial intelligence, and how you can use a brand new application to do your editing for you. It sounds like science fiction, but I can promise you this stuff is a reality right now. I have the founders of the application Imagine AI for today's guests. They are Ron Oren and Yotam Gil, both from Israel, and that interview's coming up in just a minute.
Are you planning to have a successful wedding and portrait photography business? Join Andrew as he interviews successful photographers and business experts to fast track your success. Welcome to the PhotoBiz Exposed podcast with your host, Andrew Helmich.
Hey, it's Andrew Helmich here from Impact Images, and welcome to this episode of the podcast. I'm looking forward to bringing this one to you because honestly, it really does sound like science fiction, but it is a reality now that we can use AI to do our photo editing. It sounds crazy. So we're going to get into that one pretty quickly today. Before we get into the interview with Ron and Yotam, if you didn't catch last week's interview with Kristen Karkoska of Blue Skies Studio in LA, it is a must listen if you want to hear from a photographer that is absolutely killing it by focusing 100% on her photography business. Kristen has a surplus of clients. She focuses on families, seniors, and some commercial clients. Her SEO is generating more than enough site visitors to keep her flat chat. And the way she looks after each of her clients means that she's generating terrific sales, has a fantastic business, a great database. And in last week's episode, she shares about each of those aspects of her business and how she's utilizing each of them to create the kind of business that she has. She really does share a ton, so please make sure you get back and have a listen to Kristen from Blue Skies Studio from last week's episode if you haven't caught that one yet.
PhotoBiz Exposed. Interviews with photographers to help you build a better photography business.
Now, usually at this point of each episode, I give you a little heads up that you're listening to the free version of the podcast, and I tell you where you can go to get access to a 30-day $1 trial. But today, and following on from what I was saying about Kristen and her interview and why you need to check it out, I want to read a comment from Dundee newborn photographer Ali Stewart of Mabel and Moose Photography in the UK that she left under the interview, the free interview from Kristen last week. She says, I listened to the non-premium interview. I couldn't believe how much great content that I missed out on. Don't get me wrong, Andrew lets you listen to quite a bit on the free one, but it's nothing compared to the full fat edition. I've been a premium member of PhotoBizX, worth its weight in gold, for a few years now. I'm used to hearing the unabridged version, but I made the mistake of tuning into the free one and realized just how much extra I was getting as a PhotoBizX premium member. Honestly, if you haven't signed up for the trial to listen to all the great content, you are really missing out. Thanks, Kristen, for such an upbeat chat. I have so many takeaways to implement in my business. So there you have it from Ali Stewart of Mabel and Moose Photography. If you haven't checked out the premium interviews, the premium membership, make sure you do it because you really are missing out on a ton every single week. And there are more details over at photobizx.com/try. Okay, we're going to jump into this interview with Ron and Yotam in just a second. I just want to give you a quick heads up before we get into this one. You need to be aware that English is the second language for both Ron and Yotam. Now, they did amazingly well, and I have no worry that you will understand everything that they say and share in this interview. And the reason I'm pointing that out is they do refer to photographers as he an awful lot through this interview. And I know for certain that when they say he, they do mean he and she, or male and female photographer. This whole interview is not purely directed at the male photographers. This applies equally to you as a female photographer, because I know and have heard from female photographers in the past just how important it is that they are recognized as the wonderful business owners they are as well. Now, yes, I could have pulled Ron and Yotam up on this during the interview, but I just didn't think it was the right thing to do. So Please accept what I'm saying here before we jump into this as the truth. I know that neither of the guys meant any offense when they share exactly what they do here. Now, the other big thing that I need to point out before we get into this, I got stuck in my head that the name of the app was Imogen AI. It didn't occur to me until later that it's actually Imagine AI. so you're going to hear me bumble my way through this, calling the product Imogen AI. It's actually Imagine AI. I did finally wrap my head around it. So yeah, Imagine AI is what I'm meaning to say every time you hear me say Imogen AI. All right, let's get into this interview with Ron and Yotam.
Welcome to another Great Eye for Business. It's time for Andrew's special guest.
Today's interview came about in a roundabout way. I'd heard about artificial intelligent photo culling and editing sometime last year, and there was some interesting chatter about it in Facebook groups, but I hadn't heard a lot about it since then. Then recently, I was in an email exchange with US-based photographer Zoe Larkin, who has 100% embraced this technology and has recorded tutorials on her YouTube channel, which I'll link to in the show notes. And she told me the app that she's been using is Imogen AI. It does the image editing outside of Lightroom using a profile it has on you, and then you download those edits to your Lightroom catalog. Now, I asked Zoe to come onto the podcast, but the timing wasn't great. But she did tell me this technology is here to stay and will definitely have a huge impact on our industry. And it's all happening right now, which is super exciting. Following that exchange, I've been able to get some time with the founders of the app, and I'm rapt to have Ron Oren and Yotam Geo with us now. Ron and Yotam, welcome.
Thank you, Andrew, for having us here. This is really exciting, and I'm really glad about your introduction.
So that was Yotam. So Yotam, do you want to start and just let us know your role in the company, Imogen AI, what you do?
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Imogen AI, and I'm here with my co-founder, Ron, which is the COO in Imogen AI. And we have actually another partner, another co-founder who's missing, who's actually started the company. He's the CTO, he's called Yoav, and he's the one actually started the company, and we joined later.
Fantastic. And I've got Ron here as well. So Ron, hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you, Andrew.
Now you, Ron, before I hit the record button, you told me, you said, this is just between you and me, but we are really passionate about Imogen AI. So what is it about? Is it the AI part or is it the editing part? What is it that excites you about AI?
Yeah, thanks. 2021, the world is changing. We are part of it. Like all of us, like Yotam, Yoav, and myself are coming from, the AI field, and we're really passionate about technology. And we've met with, so many photographers by now. And, one of the things that we really like is, asking them, what is their style? And every time that we sit and meet with someone and he explains what is his style, you see that he have like his eyes are bright and shining, and he's very excited about it. And for us, what kind of the message that we bring, in terms of why we are passionate about AI and photography is because this is the first situation that we have that AI is not actually making, a negative impact or coming into, to make someone less redundant. Actually, this is making every photographer much more, I would say, meaningful, because this is actually an AI that works with the photographer and actually working with him. So for me, we created an assistant, another person that actually, joining forces with the photographer and really understand him. So I'm excited about it because this is how we envision it. It's not something that make you redundant, it's something that make you more meaningful. And that's the point of the technology from our point of view, to make, a meaningful, I would say, product that's making us better and much, much more productive. So yeah, this is why I'm passionate about it.
Nice. There's so many questions I've got about this technology, how it all works, because I'm amazed by it, but I've got no idea about it. So first of all, you guys are both based in Israel. Are you photographers? Are you coders? Are you business people? How do you define yourselves? Yotam, I might start with you.
Yeah, so I actually met Yoav at university. We both studied machine learning and deep learning. So we're coming from the technical part. And Ron and I have been friends from the age of 6. We just grew up one house next to each other. And we always had a long-lasting dream to establish a startup. So this is just, it happened.
Yeah. In Thailand, on the beach, like we sat on Thailand in the beach drinking like cocktails, and we dreamed about the moment that we're going to have our own startup. Yeah.
That's so good. So, I mean, back then, when you're sitting on the beach in Thailand, you dream up this idea. Is the idea to make something for photographers, or is it just to do something with AI? Like, what was the original dream?
So the dream, I think it was preceding the AI technology, because it was we were dreaming about it for about, I guess, 20 years now. And we had, ideas along the way, but it didn't really happen. But eventually I joined Yoav with his journey here. And then I told Ron, listen, I'm in a very promising startup. We have this dream, you have to join. And he just jumped on the wagon and joined us, with full power ahead. Yeah. So Yoav and I are both technical, coming from the technical field. We started that because Yoav got married about 3 years ago, and he waited for about 3 months, which is the standard in Israel. And I think this is more or less the standard in the world of a customer, of someone who got married, waiting for his photos to come back. And, for us in the computer field and in the technological fields, it's eternity. 3 months, you have nothing that you have to wait 3 months for. So he started investigating and tried to understand why it takes so long. And then he realized that the photographer needs to edit for a very long time. So he approached his own photographer, his own wedding photographer, and tried to start working with him and try to understand how can he help with this tedious and long process. And we found out that actually AI can help. And this was a really good finding for us. And then it's all history since then.
Fantastic. I love it. And it's so true. I mean, there's been terrible articles in the news recently in Australia about one of Australia's top photographers who just hasn't delivered files to clients for, over a year in some cases. And I don't know if it's all down to editing, but that's the excuse most photographers use. It's taking me a while to edit. I have to do the design and the editing. It takes time.
And if I may, photographers love to photo shoot. Like they love the action. They love to be on the field and meet with the clients and actually, be active about it. The editing is something that they care a lot about. This is their brand, obviously. This is how they deliver. This is the reaction that the client will have. But at the end, this is a huge time consuming. And this is kind of making them, to delay or to say no to job opportunities. So when Yotam mentioned to me that this is actually coming from a real pain that you have saw and felt, and that we started with a pain and actually try to unlock what is the pain and the solution, I think this is what makes Imagine AI unique or special, I would say.
Nice. I want to ask you about the product, how it works, who it's for. Actually, maybe you can answer this question first, and then I want to ask you about AI. Is this product, is it for wedding photographers only, or is it for portrait and commercial photographers? Who is it for?
So basically, the product is for anyone who edits in batch. So if it takes a very long time for you to edit because you have a lot of images and you really want to accelerate the process and you feel like you're doing many of the same things over and over again, so AI can actually help, and we can help automate part of the process, not the creative part, but the things that you do over and over again. So it could be wedding photographers. This is the maybe the bread and butter because they have to edit many, many photos. But it also helps, portrait photographers, real estate photographers, food photographers. So we have many other domains in which you have to edit a lot of photos, and also time is crucial. You have to supply the photos in a very fast turnaround time. So it could help all of these kind of photographers.
Nice. All right. We might use wedding photography for an example then. But just before we dive into the details of how it all works, what is AI? I mean, I know that it means artificial intelligence, but does that mean the app or the program that you guys have created, does it actually learn and change? Is that what artificial intelligence is?
Yeah. So AI, Ron mentioned again, it is very passionate about technology and AI. And I want to add to that for me, it's amazing. I decided to leave my previous career in the tech and go back to university and study this field because it was amazing to me. It's been since about 2012 when AI started to go big. And basically what's differentiating AI from any other technology is the ability to learn for itself. So, I have a 1-year-old baby today, and I just show him and I tell him the words and he starts learning the words by himself, how to pronounce them. I show him some actions that I do and he starts to learn with examples. So that's exactly that, You just show him examples, show the AI examples, and the AI starts to learn and starts to understand what to do without you explaining anything. And it applies to many, many domains. I mean, you see Google Photos, for example, where you classify photos according to the people inside. You see many applications in the fields of text and speech. And so you have many, many applications. It's really beneficial in the photos domain because photos has a lot of information inside, and it's really hard for a human to digest and to process all the information inside. And it's much easier for AI and for computers. So we see many, many applications of AI in the photos domain. And specifically for us, we saw a pain where a human editor needs to understand someone else's style by going over a lot of photos and try to mimic that style. So we said maybe AI can learn what a human editor does and do it for him. And that's basically what's AI. Just going back to your question. So again, AI is actually be able to learn by itself according to examples. You don't have to tell him what he needs to learn. You don't have to tell him how you should learn it. You just show him examples and he can train itself.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you about the actual product because then I think I'll get a better understanding. So let's say I photographed a wedding and I'm used to doing my own editing and it takes me 2 days to do my editing, for example. Mm-hmm. So then today I come home, I've learnt about image and AI. Do I download the app and install it, or is it a plugin? Like, what is it? Is it a standalone program?
Yeah, maybe I'll take this. First of all, today's is a lot of time. This is the time that I want you to spend on, be with your family and or take another project. But so the process will be, we try to keep it as simple as possible. Imagine AI is a desktop app. You download it from our website and you install it on your computer, whether it's a Mac or PC. It's a simple desktop app that you install. The application is seamlessly integrated with Lightroom. So it's worked with Adobe Lightroom currently. We are developing more and more integrations, obviously, but currently it's working seamlessly with Adobe Lightroom. And once do you want me to explain the whole process if that was the question?
Yeah. So what happens, let's say, so I've just downloaded it. I'm about to start editing this wedding. Is this when I start Image and AI and it watches what I do, or does it look at what I do?
Okay, got it. Okay, so let's start from where I stopped. So you download the app and you have it on your computer. Now, in this point, when you open Image and AI, you have two options, basically. Option number one, if you want to start edit immediately. Now, right now, you want to edit your photos without making any training, what we call as training for the system. And you can just choose one of our talents profile. Talents are real photographer that we chose. We approach them and say, hey, we really love your style. I think that it will be very beneficial to our users, to our customer, and to our, to the photographer that work with us to actually edit like you, meaning that this is an AI profile that's been created based on their previous edited photos that we captured and we prepared. Usually these type of profiles will be profile with a huge set of data that we trained upon. And you can now choose one of these styles and just send your file, send your catalog or folder to Image and AI. And this process is usually, few seconds, I would say, few minutes just to upload the catalog that you just shoot. It's been uploaded to Image and AI. Image and AI is processing, reading, analyzing your photos, and then applying the AI profile on these photos, meaning that the profile is analyzing every image, defining how this photographer will edit. I'm predicting how you would edit every photo, and then push back the parameters into a file that you can now download. And then you are back to Imagine AI app. You hit the download button. This is usually, after it's about 1 second per image. So this is blazing fast. I'm not talking here like a day or two or more. This is, let's say, 1,000 photos, which is a usual wedding session, I would say, will be a 20 minutes thing. So after 20 minutes, you can download 1,000 photos with an edit suited to each image. And once you hit the download, Imagine AI will automatically update your Lightroom catalog. So your Lightroom catalogs, if you will open that catalog again, every image will have its own edit based on how Imagine AI predicted based on the AI profile. Now, this is only when you choosing a talent profile and edit instantly. Now, the other, I would say, route.
Hang on, Ron. Let me just hold you there for a second. Let me ask you a few questions about this. So do I drag and drop my catalog, or do I point Imagine AI to the catalog that I want it to edit?
Yeah, you have 3 options. Like we try to keep things like as simple as possible. Also, our GUI and everything, all the user interface is extremely basic because we say this is only a connections between the AI network and the catalog. So you can drag and drop your Lightroom catalog to Imagine AI, and we read it, and we then making the analysis. B, you can choose the recent catalog that you used in Lightroom, and we're reading the recent catalog, and you just choose one of the recent one. And C, you can browse your computer and just choose that file.
Right. So the files that I'm uploading to Imagine AI, they're not going online, are they? They're just still staying on my hard drive. They're not going anywhere remotely to your site, anything like that. Is that right?
I'll take it. So actually what we do is, because the AI technology really demands a lot of resources, so we upload the photos to the cloud, to our servers, which are fully secured and fully, they're private. No one else can access them. And in order to upload, because we're talking about raw photos, so we have to compress the photos. We upload the photos. If you want just to edit, we just upload the photos. If you want to train your own personalized profile, and we upload the compressed photos together with the editing parameters, and all the magic is happening on our servers. And once the edit is ready, you actually download the editing data. So you just download the editing parameters. The photos are, it's not something you want to use because it's highly compressed and it's low resolution photos. So it's not something that anyone else can use, or, so you just upload the photos, we find the right edit, and you download back the edit.
Okay, got it. So if I'm editing and I'm using Imagine AI, then I have to have an internet connection, but no one's going to steal my photos. They're my photos, and they're only going to be super low res. That's right?
Yeah, definitely. This is a secure connection to our server that it's been uploaded and stay there. And this is your photo that only you have an access, and to download these type of photos. There is nothing that will be publicly available or anything like that. That's a very important question. Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually, I just want to emphasize that because we get that a lot, and we understand that because users are kind of hesitant to, to send their customers photos, or to send, to upload photos to a new software. So I just want to say that we have a privacy policy in which we cannot use the photos for anything else other than training your own personalized profile. So, and everything is fully secured. It sits on, Amazon and Google clouds, which are highly secured. So no worries in that domain.
Okay, yeah. Also, guys, let's say I train the AI and I create my own personal profile, and I've got this certain look that is mine and mine alone, that too stays mine, doesn't it? Like, you're not going to share that with other photographers. That's not going to become a downloadable profile for someone else.
No, definitely not. So maybe I'll just continue like the second route. Like, this is actually the second route that I mentioned when you're entering Imagine AI app is to create your own profile, what we call Imagine AI Pro.
Right.
And by this, you basically you teach the AI your style. You hit on the teach button and you upload at least 5,000 edited photos that representing your style. Now, I'm just going to answer a question that like many of our customers ask me. You don't have to, call or really cherry pick every image. Actually, the opposite is what we're looking for. Versatile as possible of your scenarios, I would say. Daylight, night, indoor, outdoor, the more versatile, the better for the AI to learn. As Itam mentioned with his baby boy, it's better to feed, with all the information and let the process be. So the reason we need at least 5K is because we need a minimum set of images to accurately capture your style. But the more that you upload is the better. I can say that, our most, we see huge time saving. We measure everything by time saving, how much time we saved you by editing your photos. And usually it's 10K, 20K and above. So if you hit this number and above, that would be great.
This is for the learning process.
The learning process, yeah. For uploading, you can start with 1 or, 10,000 at once. But for the learning process, yeah, the more is the better. And then when you hit the teach button and you uploaded at least 5K, this is usually take about a day. It could be less, but about a day. This is a mostly compute process. And then you receive an email once your profile is ready. It's accurately captured after testing and making sure this is meeting the standard that we have. And once the profile is ready, as I mentioned before about the talents, you can use that profile and just send fresh batch of photos and edit with your style. And again, this is a 1 second per image. This is a much shorter step.
Okay. All right. I'm getting a grip of how this works, but let me take you back to the first process. Let's say I want to use someone else's profile. There's a photographer's style in there that I think, okay, this looks great. This is this light and airy look that I love. So can I apply that AI profile to my photos? And then let's say I like it, but I want to tweak it slightly. And can I tweak it slightly and then make that my new profile?
Yeah. Yotam, if that's all right, if you can answer that, because there is many things to consider. But I do want to answer one thing that you asked before, Andrew, and I forgot to answer, which is if my profile is only mine. So I do want to emphasize that.
Yes.
This is your own, we treat it as DNA. This is your DNA. Like, this is how you edit. There is no one else that edit exactly like you. That's the beauty of the neural network that we use. And so, yes, definitely, this is only you. No one can use it unless you want to be part of our talents. And then you can actually commercialize your profile and distribute it through our channel, through our app, and get royalty for it. Like what we're doing with talents. But again, this is a process where we will discuss, we will examine your profile, we will see if it's met to our standard. We will ask for, a larger set of data to train upon. And again, this is the process, but only if you choose, you can make it publicly available. But if not, this is only yours.
Got it. Great. Thanks, Ron. So, Yotam, what were you going to add to that about tweaking someone else's profile to make it my own? Is that a possibility, or is that not something you recommend?
Yeah, sure. So currently we have as Ron mentioned, we have 2 options: using a predefined profile or building your own profile. So the option of branching out for a profile, like you said, taking a talent's profile and making it yours. So today we will still need you to edit at least 5,000 photos with the talent's profile, and then you can actually branch out of this profile. We are actually exploring and working on a new technology which will enable us to actually take much fewer photos than 5,000 and just say, okay, we have a big data set of photos edited with this profile. We have a smaller data set of photos edited with your preferred style, with your branch out or with your tweaking of this profile. And we want to start and train your own personalized profile. So we definitely get this request for many photographers because they want to, start from something they like. They're not sure about their own style yet. They don't have 5,000 examples to teach the AI how to edit like them. But then they want to develop their own style, their own unique voice. So it's something we definitely get. Today, you still need to edit at least 5,000 photos to create your own branch out of this talents profile. But in the future, I hope it will be much less.
Yeah, but Andrew, I think that you're referring, there is another option, just to kind of emphasize. So there is one option which is teaching. You can teach your Imagine AI your style, which is, uploading a large batch of edited photos. But there is another option, which is after edit is downloaded, after you download your edit through Imagine AI, which is send us your final edit. So let's say that you open Lightroom once the edit is downloaded, and then you just want to tweak, right? We're all about time saving here. So instead of, edit the whole photo, you just want to tweak the contrast or make some, change a bit the whites and just make a small adjustment to fine tune, or maybe your style is evolving. And then you can go back to Imaginary app and hit the sentence, your final edit to fine tune your profile. And this is the process where you upload only the delta, only the specific edit that you actually done. And Imaginary is keep on learning. It's kind of evolving with your style, right? It's keep on learning from what you've done and how you want to kind of optimize that profile. And so this is another option which is unrelated to the teach, but it's kind of sub from the teach option.
Got it. Okay, so what if I'm an experienced photographer? I've been in business for 10 years. I like my style. It's my style. I'm comfortable. I'm currently outsourcing to another image editor. Is the easiest way forward for me to upload my last, say, 20 weddings, so 20,000 images, just upload the final edits from those last 20 weddings, and that's going to give me my own personal profile.
Yeah, definitely. So that's actually the process. We try to make this process of uploading your Lightroom catalog very, very easy. So all you have to do is download the app, go to Teach Us Your Profile, and choose the Lightroom catalogs and the folders inside these catalogs you want us to use for training your profile. So you say my last 20 weddings are the catalogs that really represent and reflect my editing style. I would like for you to use these 20 weddings to actually create a profile that represents my style. So I can later use this profile to edit a new wedding, my 21st wedding, in the same style. So you just upload these 20 weddings and we create a profile, and this profile will hopefully be very, very close to your editing style.
Got it. Okay.
By the way, a quick tip about it, like many people are using Lightroom filters and tagging, the styles or the colors. So you can also choose, through the Imaginary app, you can just choose, the filter that you used in Lightroom, just to make sure that this is actually the one that you actually want to use. And this is, part of the seamless integration with Lightroom.
Okay, so inside Imagen AI, I'm not changing color, tone, vibrance. I'm not doing all that in there, am I? I'm still doing that in Lightroom. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's totally correct. What you do is actually getting all the parameters to your Lightroom catalog. It all happens automatically. So once you click download in Imagen AI, you will just get all the parameters directly to your Lightroom catalog. Next time you open Lightroom, everything would be edited and you can just start from there. It's kind of, the process is kind of like applying a preset, but the big difference here is that each photo is analyzed differently. Each photo is getting a different set of parameters. And because we edit each photo differently, we can also adjust, white balancing, exposure, things that you don't usually get with a preset.
Got it. Okay. So I don't have to learn a whole new editing suite. I'm still using Lightroom, but the AI, your app, is just learning what I'm doing in Lightroom.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me give you a scenario. I'm at a wedding and I'm photographing the families. So after the ceremony, everyone's hugging and kissing, and I've pulled everyone at the family aside to do family photos, and they're backlit. I've got a nice background, and it's just straight up shots, straight up easy photos for me to photograph. And let's say I've got 20 family photos. Does Imagen AI, will that return each of those photos to look the same, or are they going to look different? If I shoot with the same exposure and I'm trying to make them look the same, will they come back looking the same?
Yeah, so I think one of the big advantages that we hear from photographers about Imagen AI is the consistency. So for photographers, it's really important to be consistent with their edits because this is their brand, this is what represents them, and they want the customer to know what is getting. So when a customer is looking at, all the galleries and they say, okay, I like this style, he likes the composition, he likes how this photographer shoots, but he also likes the edit. So the photographer, he wants to keep his brand, his style, his editing. And with Imagen AI, since it's fully automated, it's always very consistent. Now, to answer how does the technology knows how to, to bring all the photos to the same editing, so this is actually magic. The AI knows how to take each photo, and based on what he saw before in the past, when he was trained, he knows how to get each photo to the same editing style and to the same look and feel. So yeah, eventually our goal is to have all your 20 photos, which were, I guess, with a little different scenario and with a little different lighting condition, and everything is a little bit different to get it to the same editing style and to be consistent.
It's funny. It's yesterday, Yotam, I was in a product interview in one of our photography customer studio. I drove there, and every time that he explained to me about Imaginary, he referred to it as she, like it's a real person. And you mentioned he now, and it's funny. I mean, it's kind of in one hand is a bit like intimidating, but on the other hand, that's kind of the point of the whole thing. Like that will be like a person that's working with you, but it's you. So this is fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what about for the photographer? Let's say, and I'm just trying to imagine me and my photographs and the way I work. Let's say my wedding edit is slightly different to my portrait edit, for example. Will I have two separate profiles then? One for weddings, one for portraits?
Yes. So basically our guidelines, Ron mentioned that before, that you want a diverse data set as possible. So basically our guidelines is if your editing style, if you can actually say my editing style is different for weddings and portraits, then you should have two profiles. If you say, listen, my photos are different, I mean, my portrait photos and my wedding photos are different, but I want them eventually to be edited the same, then keep it one profile. So basically the guidelines for building a good profile would be have the data set of photos as diverse as possible. So from all kinds of sceneries, from all kinds of lighting conditions, as Ron mentioned, indoor, outdoor, summer, winter, night, day, everything, but try to make the edits as consistent as possible. So the AI can actually understand your edit and can actually be very, very accurate with your type of edit.
Nice. Okay. I want to ask you about cost and how that works. But before I ask you that question, the one thing I am thinking about is black and white photography. So I'm photographing primarily in color, but I do want to supply some black and white images to my client. Do I do them separately? Is that a separate profile? How does that work?
Oh, if that's right, I'm going to take it because it's not live yet, but I'm going to hit the publish button soon and publish our first talent black and white profile. And so, but to your question, you upload everything at once. Like, don't worry about it. That's part of our premise, our product premise. Don't worry about, the process. Upload the catalogs. And if you have black and white and color and you want us to train only the color one, we will call the black and white. We will take them out and actually reserve them for the moment that you actually want to create your own black and white. So yes, we will separate those to two different profiles, but you don't need to worry about the process.
Well, okay, so I upload black and white and color. You'll sort them out, and then I can choose which photos I want to be black and white once they come back down.
Basically, better to, at this point, I will say before, this is going to be something that we're going to release in the near future. But at this point, if you want to have a black and white profile, better to contact us through support and just let us know that you uploaded, a certain amount of black and white, and you actually want to create another profile only for these black and white.
Got it. Okay. And the pricing, guys, how does that work? Is it per image? Is it a one-off payment? Is it a subscription?
So straightforward, like simple as possible, like everything else we're doing. It's pay per usage. Like you're paying only for the images that you actually send to edit. Our pricing model is, if you are using talents, you only pay for these images. And if you edit with talents, with our talent profile, this is you paying a minimum subscription fee, which is only $7 a month. And for that $7, we're actually maintaining and reserving your profile. So again, if it's a pro, you have a monthly subscription of a minimum $7 a month. And then you pay per usage. For the first image to 1,000 image a month, that will be a 6 cents. For any other image that is 1,000 and to 5,000 images, that will be 5 cents per image, $1 US dollar. This is important to mention. And if you're reaching 5 to, let's say, 10,000, that will be only 4 cents per image. Now, if you use talents, this is even cheaper. And the first tier is 5 cents. The second tier will be 4.5 cents. And our lowest tier, highest volume tier, is only 4 cents per image. So pay per use, or if you're using Pro, this is also coming with a minimum subscription fee of $7.
I just wanted to further mention that we had a lot of discussions about how to price this product, because from one hand, we have outsourcing companies who charge about 3 or 4 times more than we do. And some people are actually, or most of the people I think today, are actually editing for themselves. So you can't really compare the time they spend with how much it will cost. And the third factor was that photography is highly seasonal. So we know that some photographers are photographing a lot of weddings during summertime, but then on wintertime, they don't have any work at all, or maybe a very little work. So, and we didn't want to charge, a subscription fee when you don't do anything. So that's the reason we came up with this hybrid model of, have a very low base subscription of $7 just for maintaining your profile. And then you just pay for each photo. So in wintertime, you don't have to worry. You're not going to pay a lot of money. By the way, the $7 will also be used for your future edits. So you're not spending any cents for nothing. And then on summertime, when you actually need it and you're in your peak time and you need to edit fast, then you just pay for each photo with no premium costs.
I love it. Okay, so I've just done some quick calculations here for the listener. So for an average wedding, say 1,000 images, I'm going to be supplying my client. That's going to cost me $50 to have them edited. Yeah. That's for that 2 days worth of work. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is our premise.
And so if I get busy in summer, along with every other wedding photographer, there's no backlog, is there? Because this is a computer doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is...
Yeah. And it's available 7 days a week and 24 hours. That's the point. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We're really proud that we started with Yoav waiting for 3 months for his wedding photos to come back. And we understand that he's waiting 3 months because the photographer takes a whole 2 days to edit his photo. So now we're down from 2 days to 20 minutes. So we're really proud of this achievement and really hope it will reflect in the time it takes for the customers to get back their photos, which is the problem we came to solve in the first place.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just trying to think here, the questions that I might have if I'm going to start using this straight away. I totally understand that the AI, will fix white balance and tone and colors. What about cropping or straightening an image? Does that happen with the AI, or do I have to choose the crop?
So we actually do have, it was released in one of our latest versions. So we added the options for crop and straightening. It's not something that we learn from each photographer by himself. So it's not a personal style of cropping and straightening. Our assumption was that cropping and straightening are less subjective than, your editing style. So you can just choose whether you want to apply crop and straightening, and we will do it for you. And it saves, according to the feedback we get, it saves a lot of time.
Okay. So how does that work? Do you need to have a horizon in the image to straighten or to crop, or the AI just works it out?
Yes, this is really interesting. And this is what actually fascinates me about AI, that you don't really know how it works. It's a black box. You just give it a lot of examples. You tell it, for these examples, this is the right answer. And it just learns. Just if this is the photo, this is the right answer. And it tries to converge and to find a way to get to the right answer.
I love it.
For each image. And then eventually when you give it a new image, it will find the right answer, hopefully, But yeah, so basically you have some ways to interpret and to understand why it thinks this is the right answer for each photo. So basically, yes, eventually it does learn how to straighten the horizon, for example, or it looks for, straight lines in the photo and wants to straighten them. But this is all like our human interpretations, and it does whatever it wants, and it finds the right answer each time.
Yeah. From a product perspective, this is why we actually make it separate than, I would say, the workflow of like editing your photos. And actually, this is have a different pricing also, like crop and straightening are priced differently. And every image that we crop is 5 cents per image, same for straightening. But the reason I want to mention this is because we know that
it's 1 cent. Sorry, just a correction. It's just 1 cent per additional photo.
Sorry for that. And but many photographers like to do their crop by themselves, just because this is, the tweak, the fine touch that they want to do. So we put it as not as part of the workflow, but as an optional. And this is this is also for us, it's a learning phase about, how people actually work. We really try to understand, to unlock what is the nature of editing photos here. So this is also a learning process for us. Hopefully, training, obviously, it's mainly for real estate photo shooting. And this is also something that we kind of trying to understand what is the impact and how much is saving time. Everything has been measured on save time. So how much it's actually save time for customers.
For sure. You say this is mainly for real estate agents, but I can tell you I've seen plenty of wedding and portrait photographers that will get a lot of use out of the straightening tool. It's not just real estate agents.
Mm-hmm. I think there's some mix here. So yeah, for horizontal straightening, this is mainly, not mainly, but I guess for all kind of photographers and highly useful for wedding photographers. And we are working on another feature of perspective transformation. When real estate photographers are shooting from a certain position, but they want to, to make the building, for example, lines straight. So this is another kind of straightening, which is mainly useful for, real estate photography.
Yeah, right. Got it. Guys, this has been fascinating for me. Up until now, really the only option for photographers that are under the pump and just not coping with the editing is to outsource. To think that the machine learning, or is that what you call it, machine learning, can start to do this for us is absolutely incredible. I guess, first of all, where is the best place for the listener to go to learn more about image and AI?
The best place is our home, our website, I would say, imageanai.com. And we keep on publishing more and more like questions and answers and videos to our knowledge center there. So this is a good place to start at, or our YouTube channel, and just see from time to time trying to upload is more tutorials and and in the next months, I'm going to upload some interviews with our customers and use cases. So yeah, definitely check this out. But again, we're in a point, both like all of us, Yoav, Yotam, and myself, that what we really want is to meet with everyone. Like we want to hear the stories. So I highly recommend to just reach out to us, contact us. If it's through our website or in any other method, I'm happy to share our email also. And just book a demo and book a session with us and ask us anything. We are happy to answer it.
Fantastic. So the website for the listener is Imagen AI. It's IMAGEN-AI.com. And if you Google it, you'll find it too. Guys, is there a free trial? Can people try this out?
Yeah, we are providing 1,000 photos for free. So for us, it's 20 minutes over 2 days for free. And that's a wedding session. So you can actually deliver a project for free with Imagen AI. And after your trial is ended, you exhaust all 1,000 photos. Then if you want to continue, you simply subscribe, and that's it. By the way, for trying Imagen AI, you don't need to do anything, no credit card involved or anything. Just simply sign in, download, and edit.
Fantastic. Yotam, were you going to add something there?
No, I just want to say that it's really important for us, for the photographer to actually see the value before he decides if he wants to use the product or not. So he can teach his own personalized profile for free with no charge. So just download the software, teach your own profile, try it for 1,000 photos, which we feel like is enough to estimate the value it can give you, the time it can save editing. And just then you can decide if you want to use it, if it gives you enough value, because we only want people who can actually enjoy it and can actually save time to use it.
Fantastic. Guys, this has been a real eye-opener for me. I'm amazed at the product, and congratulations for getting it off the ground and working. It sounds incredible. I'm looking forward to sharing this with the listener, and I can't wait to hear their feedback as well. So Ron and Yotam, massive thanks for coming on and sharing everything you have. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I really enjoyed it.
Hope you enjoyed that interview with Ron and Yotam as much as I did. I honestly would love to hear your feedback on what you thought, not only about the interview, but about artificial intelligence and photography editing. Is this something you see yourself using in the future or right now? Is this something that you're going to trial? What do you think this means for outsourcing and photo editing companies? Will they start to use AI, or are they going to be cut out of the equation altogether as photographers like you go on to start using AI right now? Can you see yourself using AI or editing if you are a portrait photographer, or do you think this really is only going to be suitable for event and wedding photographers? Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this. You can leave a comment in the comments area of today's show notes. They are at photobizx.com/412. Now, in those show notes, I've got links to anything and everything that Ron and Yotam mentioned. I've got links to the YouTube videos from Zoe Larkin, and you can also see some screenshots from the software all there in that one spot. Now, at the very bottom is the comments area. So if you do have a comment, feel free to leave something there. If you are a PhotoBizX Premium member, let's talk about this in the PhotoBizX Premium members Facebook group. I'll add Ron and Yotam into the group as well, so we can have access to them. If you've got any follow-up questions you'd like to ask, maybe there's something that I didn't ask but you wish that I did, or maybe you'd like them to go deeper on a certain topic as well. So that'll be there for us, but I'm keen to continue the conversation and hear your thoughts on AI as a tool for photographers.
It's shout out time.
I've got one big shout out for today's episode, and I'm not sure who this actually goes to. They left a wonderful review, a 5-star rating in iTunes, and the username or the handle they use is K Carday from the United States. So K Carday, if this is you and you're hearing this announcement, please let me know exactly who you are, because I want to add a link using a keyword phrase that you're looking to rank for from the PhotoBizX podcast show notes to help you with your SEO. It's my little way to say thanks for leaving such a wonderful review. Now, what K Carday says in their review is, I am a photo education junkie and love to continue to learn and grow in my business. I'm so grateful to have discovered this amazing podcast that is all about real working photographers and what they are doing to grow their business. It can be a lonely business being self-employed, but with PhotoBizX, I feel like I'm part of a community. I joined the premium membership and it is the best education money I have spent in my business. By implementing the things I've learned on the podcast, I have had the best April ever, doing over $30,000 in sales in 1 month. Amazing. Thank you so much, Andrew. No, thank you, K Carday. Again, you have to let me know who you are, because wow, this is such a fantastic review, and massive congrats on your huge month. I'd love to know who you are so I can say a proper thanks. Okay, that is going to wrap up this episode of the podcast. I hope things are good where you are. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. I hope you're excited about business. And I'm guessing the warmer months, if you are listening from the Northern Hemisphere, you must be excited about that, because it's starting to cool down here in Australia. And I am already looking forward to summer. For next week's episode, I'm trying to get on the podcast a photographer who is actually using AI to do their editing, so we can actually get some real world feedback from someone using this in their business. Again, I really am excited about AI and how much time it could possibly save you and I in our businesses. So fingers crossed I can get this photographer on and hear exactly what it's like to work with something like Imagine AI in a real world scenario. So look out for that one next week if I can make that happen. If not, I promise to have another fantastic guest for you anyway. Until then, have a fantastic week and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
If you have enjoyed this episode, head to photobizx.com. Join the conversation, leave a comment, and share your thoughts on the interview with Andrew and today's special guest.